final season of Game of Thrones.
Please clear the set.
You can actually use a whole episode just in anticipation.
She's a sassy lady.
Brienne and Toth!
Weed
Do we do the lines or we just look up?
Do we do the lines, right? Here we are?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why not, right?
Background.
Well, here we are.
Yes, here we are.
Because we were spending so much this season in Winterfell, that meant greatly expanding Winterfell. You can't just use the same 3 or 4 sets over and over again without it starting to look redundant.
Winterfell has grown from, what was in season 1 and 2 a courtyard into a proper castle.
When we read the outline for season 8, it was clear that it was so big what was required of it that we had to have a complete rebuild.
What was added for this season was the North Gate and the battlements and the North Courtyard because of the attack was going to come from the north.
Right, we are in the new courtyard in Winterfell. The old courtyard ended where this wall was, so it was relatively small. We needed an expansion of the whole castle because we have refugees, we have an additional army that needed feeding.
We took the old Winterfell model. I literally took a scalpel and pulled that wall out in foam core, and then it opened up the whole space. And seeing all of the different activities that took place in these castles is really important. Almost the back of house activities in the castle was like, well, how were these people fed? Where did the beer come from?
Just come through the North Gate in this area where we have got our soup kitchen.
And we made spoons and ladles and bowls and things that you kind of take for granted but actually require quite a lot of work.
And we have a brewery.
We have barrels that are practical and people can be drinking.
I do a lot of research on the history of food and what was available and what we would have eaten.
The other side, we have our bakery.
We would have breads that were made fresh and ones that were treated so that they wouldn't disintegrate after a couple of days.
In working on a set that looks good on every angle, that's what gives you the options,
You could literally go from one side of Winterfell, upstairs, downstairs, into towers, out of towers, and create these long continual shots.
It was very, very exciting. I mean, there's so many layers, levels, which opens up a lot of chances of moving the camera through those after our characters.
So what Deb did and her team was to create these incredibly realistic environments. If the actors are in an environment that seems real to them, it's much easier to get a good performance.
Go inside and you're completely transported. You have to remind yourself by knocking on the walls and then you can hear that it's fake.
C marker. Marking.
And action! Turn. Go.
When I had talked to the actors concerning position and where they all sat, episode 1 of the season, I made sure that John sat in the front middle. He was, in a sense, rallying the troops that we have to get behind Dany Targaryen. When Jaime comes to Winterfell, she definitely took the role and took the Queen's position.
When I was a child, my brother would tell me a bedtime story about the man who murdered our father.
It's an absolute trial, but it's fueled by this fact that no one wants her there. It's fueled by her needing to say, this is me in the boardroom, this is me at work, and I'm gonna show you how I work.
I promise to fight for the living. I intend to keep that promise.
David Nutter, he has the most enormous respect for actors. I mean, as do I. I couldn't possibly do that. Sitting in front of this camera is difficult enough. Once we get on set, he will have a director's rehearsal with the actors before the scene, and then we go for it.
Go ahead, go down and go. You're gonna watch her go, then she walks away, and then you'll drive right down to Bram.
I know Sir Jaime. He is a man of honor.
For Brienne, I think it's in some ways the most complicated feeling of all because she's feeling things that she can't really process.
It goes all the way back to the beginning of their relationship when he kind of jumped in the line of fire for her.
Without him, my lady,
You would not be alive. Brienne's a very naturally shy person, and she stands in front of that room and she puts herself on the line. And it's almost like a declaration of love.
And that means a lot to Sansa because she believes in Brienne. So if Brienne vouches for him, then that's good enough for her.
I trust you with my life. If you trust him with yours, we should let him stay.
What does the Warden of the North say about it?
That's the first scene we see him after he's heard all the information from Sam.
We need all the men we can get.
And so I think even the fact that Jaime Lannister's here, he's sort of just not really in the room.
The moment that Jon found out that he started to cool off with her, that was really the kind of thing in which he was avoiding her.
Print. 16 off the okay, Joe? Yeah. Okay, ready, and...
In David Nutter's words, he was getting Winterfell ready for battle. And by the time Miguel would arrive in episode 3, the battle was beginning. And the thing that was really important to us was what steps would the residents of Winterfell take in order to protect themselves against the army of the dead. They would do as much as they could with dragonglass. We had the caltrops that were made. We also put shards of dragonglass on top of the battlements and the dragonglass logs.
I had pre-engineered how to make the dragonglass, so chunks of resin, and then we'd nap it, shape it and grind it. Then we'd mould that and create hundreds of those types.
From a very prop sort of sense, we had to make big piles of dragonglass that were movable. Background, weapons, spears, knives, daggers.
Then using the forge work, how to make a sword, how to make an axe, how to make a spear. So incorporating all of those assets with Gendry.
The whole thing's fully working. You know, the furnaces work, and the forges are all, you know, fully operational. And so, as an actor who's trying to look like he knows what he's doing, that's a challenge and hard.
Gendry's, in a sense, he's leading the guys with the forges. He understands all about dragonglass and understands how to turn those into weapons.
It had to be molten dragonglass poured by an actor into a mould. And so obviously we had to play around with a material that was completely safe, completely cool, but also appeared to be molten glass.
Here we are, ready? Yeah.
Arya goes to the forge, and then it says, oh, Gendry's here, and he's looking good. Gendry got a chance to kind of understand who the new Arya was as well, so there was a wonderful kind of a flirtation that went on there that was kind of interesting.
It's going to be safer down in the crypt, you know.
Thank you. You're going to be down in the crypt?
Here we go.
She basically proves him in a display of her prowess. She takes about 4 or 5 of these Dragonstone knives and kind of throws them against the posts and kind of, you know, hits these posts 5 times in a row, and he's like, holy shit, she's got some abilities.
I enjoy new experiences. I look forward to seeing this one.
The library in Winterfell was something that I was very excited about designing, and it is a beautiful space.
We wanted to make it look slightly different from all the libraries that we've done before. You know, they're not great readers in Winterfell. We added little details like, you know, these dire wolf heads.
The wolf heads in the Winterfell library were just a bonus, really. We built these beautiful hammer beams, and it was Halka's idea to put the wolf heads on the end of those hammer beams. So Darren, our sculptor, sculpted those little wolf heads.
We took the sigil and just tried to develop it into a 3D world. And then we made a small model in clay to look like a carved wood, because it was going to go at the end of a piece of timber.
If the audience picks up on them, that's fantastic. If they don't, then they enrich the set in another way.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Lady Sansa, I was hoping we could have a word. Alone. Sorry, do that again. We could have a word.
It was actually quite bizarre because I only see Emilia on screen And it's like kind of a fan moment. I mean, I know her in real life, but as Daenerys, I only see her on screen. But it was really, really fun to work with her.
I thought you and I were on the verge of agreement before. It was a lioness versus lioness. Verbally, you've got this sparring match happening. He never should have trusted Cersei.
You never should have either.
Like, oh, that slap hurt. I'ma take it. Not gonna slap you back.
Families are complicated.
Oh, certainly have been.
You're driving in, you have to sit first, but as you're sitting, you could indicate, like...
Yeah.
She comes to Sansa, yeah, with a bit of an olive branch, trying to find a way inside that kind of cool exterior that Sansa presents.
I'm here because I love your brother.
But she's just forgetting the critical matter, which is Sansa thinks of the North in every way that Dany thinks of Westeros. The North is hers. It's the Starks. It's theirs.
It was taken from us, and we took it back. We said we never bow to anyone else again. What about the North?
And cut.
Just fancy your brother loads. He's really sexy.
And we have cutting. You remember it right.
The way we had to light the night courtyard meant we had to dig trenches through a very thick World War II concrete lane for the megawatt power that we had to pipe in from the Jennies. So it was a bit more like preparing for Glastonbury than it was for preparing for a short stay location.
Oh, for fuck's sake. May as well be at a bloody wedding.
And we've cut, guys, we've cut.
We had one night shooting. We had 3 principal cast up there, 3 cameras, background, our crew, and we had every kind of weather. We had clear skies, we had horizontal rain, horizontal sleet, big fluffy snowflakes, and so we had to cover ourselves in every kind of weather. It's very cool when you actually look at it and go, oh, that looks a lot better than we thought it would, considering it was pissing with rain, and you realise you got away with it.
Where are you going?
I'm not spending my final hours with you two miserable old shits.
For us, what was interesting about this episode was always that it's our last night together.
What people do when they know they have one night left on Earth tells you a lot about who people really are.
I remember the first time we came here.
You were a golden lion. I was a drunken whoremonger. It was all so simple.
The sequence that I love so much was the sequence around the fireplace. It starts off with something simple as Tyrion and Jaime having a moment together as brothers.
My lady.
Oh, we didn't mean to interrupt. We were just looking for somewhere warm.
Contemplate your imminent death. You've come to the right place.
We have all invested so many years in these characters that, yes, we can actually use a whole episode just in anticipation of what's going to happen.
And there was a good gang in the room. We've got Peter and Tanya and myself, and that wonderful atmosphere that the guys have created.
Figured I could wait to die freezing my balls off out there, or wait to die nice and warm in here.
For Tormund, the best thing to do is to drink and to try to enjoy life. And of course, life is love, and love is Brienne. So he's just hanging around, trying to show her why he's the best guy ever.
They call me Giantsbane. Want to know why?
I've now watched it probably 300 times, but I still always laugh when Tormund starts telling his backstory.
That's how I got so strong. Giant's milk.
Partly in the way that Kristoff portrays Tormund, and partly in the reactions of the other characters listening to him. Part just in the way that Tormund chugs the goat's milk there. It's really pretty incredible. And he was really chugging milk.
Maybe we'll have that drink.
But it does not impress Brienne, I think. But, you know, he does his best.
You're not a knight, Tormund.
You're not the knight?
Yeah, we'll put it up there.
Okay.
Put fuck tradition a little closer together, tighter. Yeah. And action.
You're not the knight?
Women can't be knights.
Why not?
Tradition.
Fuck tradition.
There's a scene that Brian Cogman wrote in which Jaime decides to knight Brienne that we always just loved. We loved enough that we made it the title of the episode.
I don't care about that, and I will continue to live my life in the best way possible. And you will probably never acknowledge it, but that's not what my life is about.
I'm no king, but if I were, I'd knight you 10 times over.
He may not have been meaning, I'll make your knight 10 times over, but it was wonderful how he kind of said the line.
You don't need a king.
He goes, well, hang on a second, I can do this. Any knight can make another knight. There are no rules against it, it's just weird tradition. I'll prove it.
It's a kind of validation, a general kind of validation she's wanted her whole life.
Kneel.
One of my favorite little moments there is the look that Pod gives her when she tries to pretend to everybody like she doesn't want to be a knight, when Pod knows that that's what she wants more than any single other thing in the world.
She wants to be a knight or not? Kneel.
And even though she denies it, you know, Brienne has been more knightly than any of the knights I think we've seen.
And the fact that she hadn't been just because of her gender is totally unfair.
As humans, like to feel accepted. And the idea of those sorts of stereotypes being pulled apart is incredibly important.
In the name of the warrior, I charge you to be brave.
We were on his coverage, he kind of zoned out for a moment. And what I mean by that is he was so into the character, he wasn't self-editing, or he wasn't aware of what he did, and he goes, I hope that was good because I don't know what happened. Then is when I know an actress got it.
Arise, Brienne of Tarth, a knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Living your life exclusively for the well-being of others in service of an idea greater than yourself. I am delighted that Brienne is recognized for that.
Sir Brienne of Tarth, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
She deserved it. She really deserved it. A bit problem that it came from Jamie, though. But, we'll see.
How about a song? One of you must know one.
I thought, could someone sing? Would Tormund sing? And then Dave Hill mentioned to me that Daniel Portman has a great voice.
We haven't had an original in a while, so this felt like the place for it, and Daniel felt like the singer.
Yeah, I was drinking a lot of herbal teas and honey and things like that to make sure, because it's very high. I don't usually sing as high as that.
The person we hadn't seen for a few beats was Pod, so on Tyrion's close-up, profile close-up, Pod enters frame as the camera kind of finds him, and he starts to sing.
Mark it.
High in the halls of the kings who are gone, Jenny would dance with her ghost.
What's cool is I wanted to shoot it, as a continuous shot. It was great because he kept in tune and rhythm for a long time.
The ones she had lost and the ones she had found.
What I really wanted that episode to be was a love letter to the characters, because I love them so much. Most of the scenes of that episode, it's really these characters in a room sharing their humanity.
The ones who'd been gone for so very long, she couldn't remember their names.
I pledge to fight for the North, and I will fight.
Spun her around on the damp old stones, spun away.
Your father told me how to do what's right. This is right.
And she never wanted to leave. Never wanted to leave. Never wanted to leave. Never wanted to leave. Never.
My name.
Wanted to leave.
My real name.
Never wanted to leave.
Is Aegon Targaryen.